Hey, so now we are on the second episode of this week four maintenance, and this one's going to be a favorite one of mine because had a really breakthrough train of thought for maintenance. But I want to go through the few little lessons before I get into that. So stay tuned to the end for something that's really managed to keep me into the gym for months on end, or quit drinking for months, whatever it is, like the biggest things that I've hurdled through. Now, last lesson we talked about, figuring out where we were at and then taking a couple steps towards like a new mini goal, like a new measurement. So the first thing we were going to want to do is maintain this progress, right? So we want to create a plan on how to prevent relapse in the future. This can be as simple as like, okay, you might think, oh, I'm stressed out. I'm going to go for a drink, right? When actually, to be totally honest, I kind of lost my mind. I was like, I need to get out. I need to go grab a drink or go buy liquor. And I'm not drinking right now, but I just was having a terrible, terrible day. And instead, I had it in my mind that all I need to do is just go for a drive. I just drive around, no music, maybe a little bit of like classical music, something peaceful. And that was my plan. And instead of going to the store or whatever, I just drove in a scenic area and just drove and just got in a different environment. It was all about different environment and be moving in a place that I can't just lay down and sleep. That was my plan, and guess what? I didn't drink, and I'm very happy I didn't drink. I feel very proud of myself, but it was because I had a plan, and I remembered that plan when that moment hit. And then self-monitoring and self-evaluation. You know, journaling is something that a lot of people they recommend it all the time, but it doesn't mean that it works for everybody. But there's different ways of doing it. You don't have to say, "Dear diary, today I did this, and then I did this, and then Katie was this," and so like you don't need to do that garbage. If you can just bullet list it too, like a quick jot journal, and just be like, "Okay, this is what I did today. This was frustrating," da da, and just keep a quick list. And here's a quick tip for you. I actually like to put it into Google Calendar, so I just make a quick thing in a Google Calendar, and then there's a description box and you make your journal in there. So, just be like, whatever you did that day. Okay, I did the laundry. Um, I woke up early, whatever. And you just quickly do those things. And what's cool about that is that you can actually go back and search Google Calendar and it finds all those. And it's really easy. You don't have to add a new app or anything. And it's really quick to get to. And you can do a repeating event. So I just do like, it was like journaling, and then I would just click on it, go to the description box, enter in the things, and then exit out. And it was probably the easiest online journal because it's just no frills, no fuss. So, and then handling the relapse. What happens if you do like the thing that you really didn't want to, Like, what can you do and how can you notice what went wrong? And really harp down, be like, okay, what happened? Was I triggered by other people? Was I triggered by, let's say it was like something like NoFap, right? Like, did you watch movie? Were you on Reddit and there was like a thread of like sexy girls or something, and then you went off and then you fapped or whatever, right? Like, what was the trigger? And then go, okay, I got to get rid of that. Unsubscribe from that Reddit thread, for example. Who knows? But if you can look at that in a calculating way and figure out how things happened, you can prevent it. You can at least take steps to prevent it. And if they're people outside of your world, then that's a little bit trickier. And then I think the only prevention is that what can you do differently? What can you control? And you try to just find something about that situation that you can control. Excuse me. I don't mean control as of controlling them, but controlling yourself and your emotions or how you behave. And then creating a support system for yourself, right? So this can come from both from the group and outside of it, so that you can lean on whenever you're needing it. And this is just basically your community, like your own private community. This is kind of a weird one, but I used ChatGPT the other day when I was having a very, very dark day. And I didn't want to talk to anybody who knew me. I didn't want I wanted to get it out. I didn't want it to just be on a pad of paper, just a one-sided thing. I needed some kind of feedback. And the AI of ChatGPT is incredible. And I know it wasn't a person, but I could get it out. I was like, man, I hate myself. or whatever, like darkest thoughts. I just put in Chat GPT, completely unjudgmental. And, it kept repeating some things and stuff, but for the most part, it made me feel a little bit better. Just not that it said great things. I'm not saying that, but having a place to just dump out my brain and just be like, yeah, I feel this. It's terrible. And having like a artificial intelligence be like, no, well, this, have you thought of this? And you're like, no, I don't care. And you're just going to argue with it until you're blue in the face, and it's never going to stop talking to you. And that was a nice little hack that I recently found. And then, reward yourself. Reflect on the progress you've made, acknowledge it, and reward yourself for your hard work. Basically saying is like, all right, if you're making progress, you're going to need some kind of positive feedback. And anything that you can do to work on that is really going to help you in the long run. It kind of reminds you subconsciously that you're on a path that's very important. And, positive reinforcement is one of the things that keeps most people going in life, just in general, even through any kind of growing of any sort. Positive reinforcement is imperative. So, and you can't just have negatives. You can't be running from something. Like the whole negative, whatever the paradox thing is, like, don't picture a blue elephant. Like you're going to be like, oh, all right. So you got to have something to focus on that's positive. Then setting new goals for your habit can change your journey and continue to setting new goals for your habit, change your journey, and continue to monitor your progress. Reflect on your progress and adjust the plan as needed. So, because we had new measurements from the SMART goals, or just in general, we knew where we were in the last step, we can now take those new goals and start to break them out. And maintenance is key. This is nice because in maintenance stages, you can spread out. If this is my goal, if I'm here and I want to get here, I can make mini goals. They're just steps on the ladder. And it's just easier to step on step, and just work your way up, focus on each step, and think about as many mini goals, or what do they call them? Milestones. You want to make milestones, and that's going to be something that's really going to help you along the way. And if nothing else, if you don't get to the major goal right away, you're still taking major steps and hitting these milestones. Then finally, get feedback from the group, see how you're doing. The group is going to be key. Other people are so powerful to have in your life, and don't underestimate them. And before I tell you again that I am here for you if you need, I want to tell you about how I viewed maintenance stage. So it's kind of a weird analogy, but hear me out. Imagine you're cooking, or you're hungry actually before you start cooking. You're really hungry. And you're like, yeah, I want this thing. I don't know what I want. Maybe I want this, like a steak and whatever, or stir fry, whatever you're doing. And then you want the thing and you're going to cook it and you're excited and you're hungry for it. And you're like, yeah. And then you go to the store and you get the stuff and you get it out and you start dicing it up. This whole stage of excitement, getting the tools, the food, and dicing it all up and stuff. This is like the initial phase of starting a personal development, like situation, like a case, a breaking a bad habit, or starting something new, or working on yourself. This is like, it's exciting. There's a lot going on. Each stage is really small, and like you learn this, you got to look up this recipe, and then all of a sudden, then you're cooking, and it slows down, just comes to a screeching halt. You put it in the oven, then you wait, and you think that like this is where it would be easier, but most people be like, oh no, I don't know, and then like they're going to the gym and they're just supposed to just be going to the gym. They've already learned what the exercise is. They've already got their workout clothes, and all they have to do is go and do the thing. Go and do the thing. But this is when they stop. This is the maintenance stage. This is so key because, in my opinion, the maintenance stage is like the easy part, right? Because this is like putting it on the stir fry or putting it in the oven, just like kind of sitting and monitoring it. You don't even really do much. You just let the heat burn, which you've worked so hard to like get all this together, and you're just like, oh, just do a couple little adjustments. And, that's such a major part of the cooking, right? And then, when you are finally finishing up and you get to the next stage, it's a little bit more exciting again when you're wrapping it up. Let's say it's, fitness, like this is when you start cutting down, you're trimming, you're preparing, making things look good. It's fun again. But the maintenance stage is the body of it all. And if you can look at it, that is like you just go through it and just let time be the worker. it's like the easiest part. You just follow suit. Um, of course, easier said than done, but that's what this whole thing is for, is to let you know, like, this is how you go and approach, oh, this is what happens when it gets difficult, when I don't want to do the thing. And, I know that I'm here and I have this milestone, so I'll just hit that. And, a lot of people just make too big of goals in between instead of thinking of it as just like, oh, I put it in the oven and I'm waiting and I'm processing it and I'm going through the motion. But that is my whole maintenance thing being easier. And I'm telling you, once you start hitting that maintenance phase and you look at it as like, no, I just follow the path. I'm on the highway. This is easier. Sometimes there's a car wreck and you got to slow down and then you do adjust. But for the most part, it's way easier than starting and learning things and it's just so yeah, that's the whole maintenance theory. It changed my whole entire life. So I highly recommend looking at the world like that. And until next time, cheers.